Welcome to the I'm a Busy Guy show. My name is Vince Acosta. I'm a busy guy, and I got another busy guy here, Vic Giannotti. Vic, thanks
Hi.
for being here.
Nice being here.
You've been known, you're a second-generation restaurateur. You've been called the King by Rich Melman, and you're also known as Chef to the Stars, among many other great things people have to say about
Yes,
you.
met a lot of people.
Well, thanks for being here. Let's get started. How did you get into the restaurant business?
Well, I came out of the Army in 1955. I went to work for my father. He had a little restaurant on Sheridan and Wilson. And I went to work for him, and that's how I learned how to cook.
And he was born in Italy?
Yes.
And he passed along a lot of the recipes to you?
Yes. And my mother, too. You know.
And you must have a passion for cooking, because I know, for just a short time after you got out of the Army, maybe you did carpeting or something?
Yes, afterward. Afterward, I did that.
And your love for cooking obviously must be something, because you've done it for so many years.
It's true. I went back into it, and I missed it. And
yeah.
Once you get in your blood, you want to. It's hard to get away from it.
And you got to love to eat too. Because you can't be a chef without tasting,
Yeah,
right?
That's true. Sure.
What can you tell us for the people that don't know the different regions of Italy, the types of cooking? So now in the south.
The south is more of a tomato and olive oil and garlic, and it's a little different than the north. The north is more of a cream, but they make a lot of cream sauces, and they use a lot of like fettuccine alfredo or carbonaro. Those are cream dishes, and they use a lot of Parmesan cheese and cream, butter. And in the south, they don't use much of that. They use more olive oil.
And they cook with beans a little bit more.
And they do beans and pasta fazool, or scarolan beans.
For the Americans, what is pasta fazool?
Well, fazool is beans,
okay.
And pasta is pasta. Well, it could be ditalini, or it could be any kind of pasta. It could be spaghetti too. You break them up into little pieces, and you make that. Some people like it that way. Some people like it with the ditalinis, which I do too. I like them both ways. But that's what beans are: is pasta.
The fazool.
Fazool, right?
Now, at your restaurants, did you make the pasta on site, fresh?
Yes, we made fettuccine fresh. We made the cavadil, gnocchi, eight finger. Eight finger was a big seller, and you make it with 8 fingers.
That's why it's called 8 fingers.
That's why it's called 8 fingers.
And that's one of the big sellers.
That was one of my biggest sellers, the 8 finger cavadil.
What is your preference for pastas? Al dente?
Al dente means firm. Yes, I like al dente. If you overcook it, it gets too mushy, and there's no taste to it. So if you cook it just right, it's al dente. It's firm, and you
and that's
eat
the
it
way
that
you
way.
like it.
That's the way I like
choose
it.
To serve
that's
it,
what
which
most people like it too.
Popular with everybody.
Some people like it hard, but I really don't like it hard. I like it firm.
Now, there would be secrets if I asked you what the secrets are, but what did you stand behind with the restaurants that you felt like were your keys to a successful restaurant and menu?
Good food, quality.
In the products that you bought?
Exactly. Your tomatoes, like my tomatoes, I get from San Marzano. My olive oil, I buy Bertolli. My steaks, I get all prime, and at about 3 to 4 weeks age. And there's many ways to cook it too. So.
And steak was a big thing, obviously. That was right in the title of your restaurant. So
Yes.
Giannotti's Italian
Steak
Steakhouse.
and chicken was good. The chicken Vesuvio, that's another southern dish. And my father kind of invented that one.
That's what I heard. Tell me a little bit about how that,
Okay.
From the region he's from?
Well, he was from Pozzuoli, where Sophia Loren
really
lived. Yes, they lived in the same town. And of course, he was a little older than Sophie Loren, but that's where he was from. But Vesuvio is a town very close to Puzzul. And when he came to this country and he started cooking, he named chicken Vesuvio because it was Vesuvio, and when you throw the wine in, it make a big splash and like a volcano. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have to tell this story because it's true, but my wife and I were on honeymoon on tour in Vesuvio, and we're on the tour bus, and I raised my hand, thinking I was going to have this big historical question, and I said, "Is this where chicken Vesuvio comes from?" And the tour guide looked at me like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
He didn't know, right?
Because,
oh no,
because
they didn't
it's
know.
a local dish here, so it's a great.
It's from America, and they started in America. If you go to New York, before they didn't know.
No. It's like when you go to Italy, you ask where's the bagals. They don't know.
Well, that's the back of the house.
Thing,
yeah, that was years ago.
And what about consistency? I mean, you stand behind that word.
Right. You got to. That's the difference. If they come today or they come a year from now, it's the same thing. It tastes the same, and that makes a big difference.
With the pastas, you had different sauces that you served. One was a vodka sauce.
Yes, vodka sauce. You had marinara sauce. We had meat sauce. We have. The special marinara that was a big number with the 8 finger. I started that with the 8 finger.
The special
marinara. That's with some butter, with the tomatoes in there. That's a marinara. Then you put a chunk of butter in there, and then you put some half Parmesan and half Romano cheese in there.
In the sauce.
In the sauce, and you mix it, and that's great flavor. Great flavor.
Nice.
So
we'll talk about it later. Yeah, we've got because it's available in stores now.
Oh yes, at 95 stores.
What about scharol and beans? Did you have that on the menu, or that was a special?
We could put everything on the menu, but if I if you don't see what you want, ask for it. We'll make it.
I think it was quoted somewhere. Somebody asked you that. Can you make scharol and beans? And you said I could do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, sure. No problem.
What about seafood specialties?
Seafood, yeah.
Octopus.
Had octopus. I love octopus myself. We call it oborp.
Oborp.
And we eat. It's a big thing around Christmas time, you know. And calamari, you know, the night before Christmas, they have all the fishes.
Right. There's 7.
Oh, there's quite a. Oh,
I think there's
yeah, there's so much of it.
The calamari.
Calamari and the octopus.
The baked clams.
Baked clams, fresh clams, mussels, black mussels.
What about scungil?
Scungil is great. Scungil is good in a fish salad, in a cold fish salad. Now we make that very well.
That's conch.
Conch, correct. That's right.
For?
That's conch. That's to come out of the big shell. Mm-hmm.
What about any favorites that you had that I didn't mention?
Atupe beige. Did you ever
hear
that? Atupe beige.
Yeah.
That's all different fishes. 4, 5, 6 different fishes in there. As many as you can.
And
most of them are mussel fish.
Oh, in the shell.
In fact, they're all mussel fish. Yeah.
Really? I didn't think about
when
that.
the atupe de beige, yeah. You put lobster in there too.
Shrimp,
clams, mussels, all your right.
What
Calamari.
about the desserts?
Desserts.
You made those all in house?
Yes, we did. We have Italian cheesecake made with a ricotta.
You're making me hungry now.
And we have the biscotti, the little cookies, and then the farfallini, you know, like the bow ties. They look like a bow tie. And we used to serve that and compliments of the house. And fresh fruit.
Just like in Italy.
Just like in Italy.
I know you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I know you told me that at one time, I believe we'll talk about the locations later, but the one at Roosevelt, you were doing a 7-course dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And what would that typically be?
Soup, salad, 2 pastas. You'd get homemade raviolis and fettuccine Alfredo. Then you would get the meat. You would get the braciole. Bracioles were cut up. You know, bracioles are a little longer than we cut them.
For the people that don't know, what is braciole?
Braciole is a flank steak, and they're rolled flank steak. And you bake them, and then you put them in the sauce. And then we'd give chicken parmesan. So that would be the braciole, the chicken parmesan, and a veal picante dish with it too. Mm-hmm. And then we'd bring out the fruit, and the cookies, and the cheesecake, and the biscotti, and whatever.
Wow, how'd you ever turn a table?
It was a 2-hour sitting. It is a 2-hour
Yeah.
sitting. It is. You can't rush them because it comes in. And it was $7 a head.
Wow.
That time. That was in the early 70s.
Now,
When we were in Roosevelt.
I know you compared it, because your portions were always big.
Mm-hmm.
And you compared it what to people? When you go to an Italian's house, they empty out the refrigerator,
Mm-hmm.
and they make sure you got something to go home.
Right.
Yeah.
So they make sure they have the food to go home, especially these young girls that were living together and they couldn't afford it. They'd come out, they'd have meal for 2-3 days.
They make sure they get a doggy bag.
Yeah, and they would get their doggy bags.
And over the years, you saw many changes. One of them, I would imagine, being with wine. What changes did you see of people's tastes?
Well, when we were kids, we used to drink a glass of wine at the table every meal. Not a lot, just one glass. That was it. That's all you'd have. Not a big glass either.
Yeah.
But then it became very popular. Wine is very popular. Women drink white wine, and most men drink red wine. And it's a real popular thing now. I mean, everybody's drinking wine.
Oh, and everybody's an expert too now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But,
most of them are.
I know that back then there was the Italian and the French had the market. And
Right.
Then
right.
California came along. And,
but then Tony Tarlotta come out with a great wine, a Pinot Grigio, Santa Margherita. And that really went strong.
Yeah,
Very
popular,
strong. Very strong.
popular now.
Yeah.
To talk a little bit about the restaurants, you preferred, obviously, you trained your chefs there, yeah?
Yes.
And you preferred in-house as opposed to bringing somebody in?
Yes, because most of them are not Italian. And so you want to teach them the way you were taught and the way you were brought up and how you ate when you were young. Mm-hmm. And that's like how your mother made it and how your father made it and how we ate and how they cooked. So that's how I learned. So when I had people that come in to work, I had to show them how I wanted it.
So they're doing it the same as you are,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it authentic then.
Uh-huh.
And also I know a lot of the people that you trained over the years, went out to other restaurants. And,
Right.
And they they're called your recipes, but...
Right, like Neighborhoods Change, we sold or we went out and then we opened a different place, but in between they go to different places to work, so you lose them and you can't tell.
There's only one Vic Giannotti.
Yeah, that's all. That's one.
That's right. Well, then we'll go through maybe a little bit about the restaurants themselves. The first one was Nick's Village. That was your father.
Nicky's Village on Sheridan and Wilson. He bought it in 1954. I came out of the Army in 55. And that's when I went to work for him. That was our first restaurant.
And that was an Italian menu?
Yes, but we had ribs too. We had the hickory smoked ribs, which were really good. And we had the logs we used to get from Wisconsin.
Well,
And there was a pit But you don't see that too much anymore.
A lot of flavoring.
A lot of flavor.
Chips they use.
Yeah, yeah. But no, they used the logs, the big logs. We had the logs delivery, in the back. We used to put the logs in there, and then you had to be 4 feet up, and then you'd have the, where you put the ribs on top.
And are some of those, some of the items were on the menu then, did you hold on to?
Yeah. Yeah, we'd make pizzas too. We had pizzas. We had chicken Vesuvio. We had chicken cacciatore. We had pastas. We had veals. We had all that. Yeah.
How would you? I know in a couple of things I read about you, you want to keep things fresh, so you would come up with different items. How would you like research or just get creative and come up with new recipes and run them as a special?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah. Or you would just think about it, say, geez, I'm gonna try this, and I think and then it works. If you like it yourself, if you like it, I like it.
I was saying earlier, if you like to eat,
Yeah, I like to
be
eat.
chef,
Sure,
you like to eat.
I do a lot of that. Yeah.
So then from there, we went to Mannheim Road.
Then we went to Mannheim Road.
I don't know if I have them in order, but we can.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We went to Mannheim Road, and then my father got sick, and he went to the hospital, and we got out of there. And then from there, we went to the Armory,
Which is on Roosevelt Road.
which is on Roosevelt Road in Forest Park. It's across the street from where they had the factories, during the war.
That's where I heard that was a torpedo factory.
Right. That's why they called it the Armory.
Really? I never put two and two together there.
So we stayed there maybe 3 years, and then it was too small, and we bought a restaurant about 2 blocks west of there. It was much bigger, and we went in there, and that's when we did very well.
No, you were doing banquets there as well, or those,
not at the beginning. When we sold it after my father passed away, and my mother was getting old, and and I said, you know what, she would kill herself. She'd work so hard that she would never stop. So I said, either we get rid of this place and keep her living a little longer. So we sold then, and that's when we got out of it. And then she retired. And then I went on.
And then from there, was that
From there, I went
Franklin
to
Park?
No, I went to Division Street,
The North Star?
the North Star. Yeah, and I went at the North Star on Divisions in the State.
Okay, because like I said, I don't know if I have them in the right order.
No, that's all right. I went there. Yeah, that was afterward. And then after that, I went to Franklin Park.
That's a whole different thing. I mean, being in the city and the suburbs is just two different worlds.
Right. There was.
But everybody followed you.
Yeah.
Everybody loved the Italian food.
And then from there, I went to Franklin Park. I went to Norwich.
Billy's? You cooked at Billy's on Rush?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. I went to Billy's. No, not on Rush. The one on, they were in
Lincolnwood?
Lincolnwood. I went there for 6 months. And then I left there and I went to Norwich. And then I opened my own place in Norwich.
And that was a long run.
And that was a nice long run, yes. Yes, we had a nice run there. And then from there, I went to Oak Brook.
That was on 22nd.
That was on 22nd Street.
Now, at almost all the places, you always had live entertainment?
No.
No?
No. I had live entertainment in Oak Brook. I had live entertainment in Norwich. Yes. Those two were the only 2 places I think I had. No, the one I had on River Road too was
Okay.
live entertainment.
And our good friend Lenny Cap was...
Lenny Cap, yes. Lenny Cap used to work for me when we were in Norwich, and he worked there too, yeah.
Now, back to the restaurants a little bit. I mean, the honors that people... You know, your name is synonymous with great Italian food in Chicago. You know, people say Italian food, they say Giannotti's. It's, you know, it's like a two-part thing. So, I mean, there's even people like Rich Melman that goes to you for advice. Or...
Richie Mellon, he's great. He's the king, I think.
Oh,
he's the king. I do. I think he's the king. Him and I think Freddie Hoffman too. He's pretty right up there. They're pretty. They're good.
If you can, tell me a little bit about a little club that some friends you had, you would go out for coffee. Wally Phillips?
Oh, yeah. Wally Phillips and Abe Gibran, Dominic DeFrisco, and myself. We had a little club. And every Monday we would have lunch. And we'd have the club. And at that time, Wally Phillips had the radio program. And Abe Gibran was the coach of the Bears. Yeah. And Dominic DeFrisco was... he was working for Alitalia Airlines.
Amongst being president of quite a few Italian organizations.
Oh, is Dominic? Yeah. Yes. And he does the show for Columbus Day Parade.
For the parade.
He does that every year. And he's a great man. So we had a lot of fun. And we used to go every Monday, like I said. And we'd have fun, and we'd laugh, and that was pretty good.
Nice. Good.
Then Abe Gibran moved, and he went to Miami. I mean, not Miami.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, and he became the line coach there. Then
to move along, I don't know if we showed the pictures yet, but Chef to the Stars. Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
The big one.
I went to Sinatra's house. Well, that's a long story, but...
We're here.
Okay. I was in Vegas, and I was at... Freddie Bell asked me if I would give him the honor to cook at his house with some close friends, his and mine. Freddie Bell. He was an entertainer, and I said, "Oh, Freddie, I don't want to do that." He said, "Come on, we'll have fun. You know everybody." He said, "It's all guys. We'll have a good time." You know what? That sounds good. I said, "All right, let's do it." So I did. And Henry De Silva was there.
And the actor.
The actor. And he went, we were through, and we went to Caesar's Palace, and Sinatra was there with the big crew. And he went up to Sinatra, and he told him, "I had the greatest meal I ever had in my life, Frank." He said, "Oh, what restaurant did you go to?" He said, "No." He says, "I went to Freddie Bell's house." Freddie Bell, he said. He said, "No, but there's a guy from Chicago, Vic Giannotti." Frank says, and he's coming to Palm Springs. He's having a party at Pat Henry's house.
The comedian. He used to open for Sinatra. Right?
Yes, he was the opening, the comedian. So Sinatra says, "I know Vic, sure." He says, "Okay." So he left, and he called Jelly over, and he says, "Vic is coming to Palm Springs, and he's going to have a party by Pat Henry's house." So he said, "Forget it. Tell him come to my house."
Really?
So Joey come up. He says, "Vic, you do me a favor." I said, "What is it, Joe?" He said, "The old man wants you to come to his house to cook and have a party there." I said, "Oh, come on."
What an honor.
He said, "Oh, please." He said he'd be honored for you to do it. I said, "Well, he's a great man." I said, "All right, I'll do it." So they told me, stop in L.A. to pick up the food because you're not going to get nothing out in
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. So I did. I bought the few bags of groceries, 4 or 5 bags of groceries, and I went to his house and I put them in his walk-in box. And then I came back and I prepped everything. And I cooked. And they told me, come on out. They had a chair for me to sit with my name on it.
Really?
Yeah, to have dinner. So when I came out, they gave me a standing ovation.
Wow.
I walked up to Frank and I hugged him, kissed me. And he introduced me to Vice President Agnew.
He was one of the guests?
He was one of the guests there, too.
Wow.
And there were quite a few people there. And we had a great time. Then he had a room across, you walk out of his house and there's a big room with a pool table there. That he had a movie camera there too, and then we watched the movie. And we played pool, and he's got a bar, and we had a great time. It was like, just like we'd be family, like your friends.
Beautiful.
We had a great time.
Well, we're doing a 2-part show.
All right.
So for the people that want to see part 2, I know they do. This is part 1. Mm-hmm. And so just in case, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Vic sauce that you can find information about at vicgiannotti.com. We got the marinara sauce. We got the vodka sauce.
Right.
The special marinara.
Mm-hmm. And the meat sauce. Right.
And then we also got a beautiful picture of you and Frank.
Uh-huh.
And then another nice picture of you when you're a little boy.
Those when I was a little boy, and those were my 2 friends. They've passed now, but we were friends.
Wow.
And that was in the old neighborhood. See how we looked.
Yeah.
Playing baseball. That's all we did. Baseball every day.
Nice. Yeah, that's why I played baseball on the street or in the alleys, right?
No, we had an empty lot next to a gas station. It's called Louis Gas Station, but it was an empty lot there. And we used to play baseball there. And
Nice.
That's where we used to play every day.
Nice.
Baseball in that lot.
Thanks for being on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got a lot talked about. Like I said, we're going to do a part 2.
All right.
So come back and watch us. Busy guy Vic Giannotti and busy guy Vince LoCascio. If you want to find parts 1 and 2, obviously watch them here or go to my website, which is busyguy.co. Thanks again, Vic, for being on the show.
My pleasure.
We'll see you
Thank
for
you.
part 2.
All right.
We got a lot of things still to cover.
Good.
And I'm starving now after talking about all your food here.
Well, I'll take you out and eat.
Busy guy. Giannotti's.